Hey everybody, it's Lord Magicus, and we are going to play some more Mono Blue Devotion in Pioneer. So, please give these videos thumbs up if you enjoy the content that I do. I really appreciate all the support that you give me. Yeah, I read all the comments, I try to respond to them all, so yeah, it means a lot. Thank you for, watching, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this week's content. So, yeah, we're playing Pioneer again, and this time yeah, we're gonna play the 60 card mono blue version. So we've experimented a lot with this. We've played the 80 card version. We've also played the blue green version, but we're gonna go back to the classic here. But we're gonna make some changes though. And one card that I was actually kind of impressed with before was this Fae of Wishes. So there's a couple reasons I'm interested in trying this. So first of all, it is a 1/4 flyer for 2. Now, the metagame for Pioneer is mostly the same as it was last time, which is to say pretty unhealthy, where it's like the top decks are mostly all combo decks. It's a combination of Inverter, the Lotus Breach deck, and Mono White. And there's also some Kethis in there now too. But there's one other deck that has risen to try to challenge them, and that is Mono Black Aggro. So it turns out that Thoughtseize is a really good card against combo. So one route that a lot of people would take to fight combo is playing, Inverter themselves. And it's still very highly represented. I think it's still like the most played deck in the metagame. Maybe Mono Black is slightly challenging that now, but it depends. Like you see. Yeah, they're all up there in the top 5 now. So like, there's more combo for sure than there are fair decks, but Mono Black Aggro it's like the new popular thing for like the last week or two. So a lot of people have been trying that in the hopes that it's going to make things better, and combo has been thriving pretty strong despite that. But it does mean though that we have to really be concerned about it. And to be honest, I don't think our deck has a very good game against Mono Black Aggro. Like, they have lots of recursive 2/1s that are, 1 power or 1 CMC creatures that are huge. So like, was it Dread Wanderer? I think is like a 2/1. Comes in tapped, and then they can late in the game buy it back for free. Or it returns back to their hand if they have like 0 or 1 cards or something like that. But the important thing is it's like a 2/1 for 1 that has relevant abilities attached to, and they also have stuff like Knight of the Ebon Legion, which is just another devastating card on turn 1 or on like turn 5. It just 1/2, giving it Death Touch and +3/+3, and it gets bigger every time they lose 4 or more life. That thing gets insane and out of control. So yeah, you have to have a plan to stop the aggro decks from wrecking you, and they are also backing this stuff up with things like Heartless Act and Fatal Push and Thoughtseize. So yeah, be prepared for that. And one reason I really want to play this card, 1/4. 1/4 is very good at brick walling those creatures. If you can put out an early, big toughness creature, then you can stop the swarm of aggro creatures from wrecking. So if we play a bunch of 2/2s, they're just gonna swing right into them, and we lose our devotion, and we're never gonna like build up to the kind of devotion we need to cast the spells that we want to cast. So we have things like Thassa's Oracle and Fae of Wishes that now all of a sudden they have to burn removal spells on these in order to be able to push through. So now there's still a good chance that they might do that anyway, but at least now we're asking them they have to have that a hand that's closer to that like perfect curve for them, where it's just like 1 drop into maybe like 2 more creatures into removal spell or something like that, where it has to be like that every time. And if they stumble at any point, then something like this can brick wall them long enough for us to get something like Master Waves online, or start bouncing things with our other spells we're going to talk about in a second. Maybe make enough mana so we can get like stabilize the game. So yeah, just by putting more questions on the table, can you overcome this? we're giving ourselves more chances against that deck. So it's just a critical mass question. Like, okay, do you have enough of what you need to beat us? Or yeah. So anyway, the 1/4 body, it's a flyer too, which is also nice. And one of the other decks I should mention that has also kind of risen to try to fight combo. Some people have been playing, like, different versions of spirits, and it's another deck where a 1/4 flyer actually does quite a lot at stopping their aggressive plan. So, and they have even less removal. They have actually like much less removal, so it's harder for them to deal with the 1/4 body. Now, but if we remember the last time that we played it, we primarily wanted to play it for this granted effect. So, choose the non-creature from outside the game and put it into your hand. So we had these awesome Cyclonic Rift and Ugin the Spirit Dragon and Mass Manipulation spells to grab from the sideboard, which just are absolutely devastating once we get to that stage in the game. You can even grab something like Sorcerous Spyglass if you're like desperately gonna die. Otherwise, yeah, just like Ugin the Spirit Dragon, being able to have access to that in game one, or just being able to tutor for that, and just at any point where it's like, okay, if I have Ugin, I win. This card is excellent at stabilizing. Like, if we can ever resolve this against mono black, they are like really screwed. So you just have to like -1 this Ugin, and like half of their board just goes away from that. So it's not that big a deal for us to even lose like 1 or 2 things if it's gonna just like send them back to the Stone Age this way. And yeah, the plus just like kills like almost all of their creatures, so that's nice. They do have like Spawn of Mayhem, which is a 4, so if that's a problem, we have to like we may need to -4, but so what? Like, once you have Ugin in play, there is like very little they can do to come back from this. Like, it's just going to completely destroy them. Like, their removal, really, aside from like Murderous Rider, if they don't have that, then they're never getting rid of this thing once it sticks. And we typically have the card advantage alongside of this to just outgrind them at that point in the game. So yeah, the whole idea against a deck like that is we want to be able to use the body to stabilize, and then use granted, get Ugin, and then play Ugin and stabilize. Well, yeah, so temporarily stabilize into like permanent stabilize. That's the idea. So yeah, this card I think is going to be good at both of those functions, and it'll function similarly against a deck like Spirits. And against a deck like Breach, we can use granted to get Damping Sphere. If we just have to slow them down long enough in order to be able to resolve something like this, because they can't really go off in the face of something like Damping Sphere. It just like neuters their entire deck. Yeah, it turns off our Nykthos, but it's so hard for them to win through this. So if we can, yeah, if we just live long enough against a deck like that and just get this, that's fine. It also, like, against some of the other decks, like if we go up against the control deck, like Mass Manipulation is great, Ugin is great, even Cyclonic Rift in a lot of scenarios, that's going to be good. Fae of Wish is just really fun. And it's a payoff card to making like a bajillion mana with Nykthos, so yeah, I think that'll be fine. So then that gives us 11 2-drops. We're going to keep the Witching Wells. I really want the early 1 Devotion so we can kind of have those more busted hands where we go like, 1 into 2 into 3, and then just, yeah, completely dominating from there, especially if we start with like Leyline. Starting with Leyline and then, being able to go, like well into like our 2-drop, just play that early Master Waves in turn 3. Just, that is so satisfying. It's great. So other than that, yeah, we keep Thassa. We're gonna keep 2 Borrowers. I think that's fine. We are gonna play with this guy as well, Baron Talarian Archmage. So we saw a little bit of him in Legacy, and I didn't get to play him as much as I wanted to, but I actually think this card does a lot of things that we want it to do. So it can bounce a creature or planeswalker when it comes in. So right off the bat, unlike Brazen Borrower, where if you want the body and the effect, instead of having to pay 5 mana, we only have to pay 3 mana for this. So yeah. Now this has the advantage, it can bounce things other than creatures and planeswalkers, and you can do it at flash speed, but this comes with a 2/2 body with it for free that has a card advantage engine stapled to it. So I think it's good. So why? What's this going to be relevant with? Well, remember, Fae of Wishes has the ability you discard 2 cards to return it back to its owner's hand. So what Baron says is, okay, at any given point, if you want to play Fae of Wishes as a creature and then later buy it back, you'd normally have to like lose 2 cards in order to do that. But Baron is saying, okay, well, if you want your Fae of Wishes back, you still have to discard 2 cards, but then at the end of the turn, you get a card back, which that actually turns, you know, instead of card disadvantage, it's now like you're cycling a card and then you're discarding a card to get Fae of Wishes back. So there's some value in it. But the other really cool thing that this does, if we play Gadwick, we can then later on play Baron and bounce the Gadwick back to our hand and then just draw like a million more cards with it. So first of all, you draw a card at the end of the turn that you bounce the Gadwick. Yeah, and then when you replay it, you'll probably have way more mana than the first time that you played Gadwick, so you just get like a million more cards. So in order to try out this, I had to cut a copy of Gadwick from here in order to make space to play all the rest of this nonsense. But given that this is going to help us with the card advantage a little bit, hopefully, you know, we just have like, it makes it less awkward also to play Gadwick early on if we want the effect to be able to tap things down. Then later you just play, okay, well, I can play Baron and then, you know, bounce Gadwick back to my hand, draw like a million cards, and then hopefully win the game like that. That's going to be ridiculously powerful. So I'm hoping that the 2 legendary wizards here are going to have some pretty sick synergy with each other. So I guess we'll find out. So other than that, yeah, we're going to keep Ipnu Rivulets. They're good against the Dimir Inverter deck. 2 Castle Ventress because I don't want to go down too far in islands. Like, you really do not want to get stuck with like Castle Ventress and no island, because then yeah, I don't want this thing coming into play tapped if I don't have to. So I'm going to keep 15 islands for that purpose. And I don't want to play all 4 of these. The life loss just matters too much in the face of like the aggro deck, so let's not do that. Otherwise, our sideboard's going to be basically like the same. Annuls are, you know, really good against like stuff like the mono white devotion deck. Mystical Dispute are going to help us against Inverter and, you know, some of the other stuff. This can even counter like if we're going to go up against like the mono green planeswalkers, we could consider this as just like a 3 mana cancel kind of a card. But otherwise, yeah, Sphere, this is going to help us with the Breach deck. Cage is also something that we can consider. Yeah, what is it? We can bring this in against Breach, and we can even bring this in against mono black aggro potentially. I don't know if we're going to want to do that. It's a card that you can bring in against Uro just to like lock them out of casting that, because that card might be a problem. I don't know. This is just it's sort of a helpful card to establish critical mass of cards to hate against you know, graveyards, or well, even it's against like Breach, I guess. So you know, we have at least 3 cards here, so we want to leave 1 in the sideboard, but at least, you know, then we have at least 2 relevant cards to bring in, and we can still tutor for 1 of these. So you know, this has some other applications where, yeah, we might want to bring this in against like a mono green deck. They're gonna play something like, what is it, Vivian, right, which I think puts a creature into play. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. I forget off the top of my head, but there are some reasons that you might want this. I mean, it might be better just to play more Damning Sphere, but I guess we'll find out. When you're playing with like a wish card, it's usually just a general, or yeah, it's a generally good idea to have more versatile answers in your sideboard. So playing more one-ofs and when you have wishes is fine. I mean, I don't know if I'm not married to this card, so if we find that it's not doing what we needed to do, it can be easily replaced with another hate card that might be better. So maybe even the Spyglass is not enough, but Spyglass I think is fine, because we can even get it and name like a planeswalker that's really hurting us, like a Teferi or a Kaya, or maybe like Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. We need something to shut that down. So, Walking Ballista, this can turn that off. Depends on what your mana situation looks like at that point in the game. So, I'm interested in playing this. It makes me a little sad that I cut one Gadwick, but like I said, I'm hoping that with Baron being able to like bounce and just getting like a million cards, and also Fae of Wishes basically being an extra end game option once we have like a bajillion mana. I'm hoping that we're not going to miss the fourth one that much. So, alright, well, let's go and try this out and we will see how this does. So I'll see you for round 1 in a second. Hey everybody, it's time for round 1. So we are up against Oink Mage and we are on the draw. So Pioneer League does not look any healthier, by the way. There's like 261 people in it as of the time of us joining it. Fuck. We can't keep this. Yeah, we have to mulligan because even though we have 2 ley lines, it doesn't really do anything. This is fine. We'll keep this. Put 1 Fae of Wishes in the bottom. Great. Fabled Passage, okay. So my guess is probably either Inverter or Sultai. Well, that sort of helps. I don't think I actually want either one of those. Well, I could take the well and try to dig for another island for turn 3. I guess that's what we need to do. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely Inverter. They just played Jace. Playing Fae of Wishes here doesn't really do anything. Master Waves is not really what I want here, but Island is, so. So we have access to Wizard's Retort. Oh wait, no, this might be. Oh, you know what? They might be playing. So we saw this before, right? Where they played Inverter along with this. No, okay, never mind. They're just playing like straight Sultai here. Okay, that's actually almost worse though. Yeah, Jace is gonna flip here, and we don't have any good way to pressure him. Okay, so now this is just gonna be Sultai. We don't have Ashiok now. That's kind of a problem. No way to like really deal with this. Yeah, like it doesn't really seem smart to me to be playing, you know, mid-range decks in a format where combo's dominating, but I guess that's what they're gonna do. They already know what's in our hand. So the Uro is probably coming out next turn. We don't have a lot of good choices. Like, if I play Oracle, Uro's just gonna kill us. I mean, they also have the option, if we don't do anything, they might just minus Jace on Thoughtseize and then get rid of our counterspell that way and then play Uro. Alright, I'm gonna play Oracle here. Probably. It's tough. Yeah, the problem is like we're not gonna have a way to stop Uro from killing us. Would drawing a land be better next turn? We already have. I don't know if it is going to be. I guess I take Trickster, but alright. Yeah, this is not great. They had Jason turn 2 and like Uro is already in the graveyard ready to come back, so Value Train is gonna get rolling here very quickly, and there's not much we can do to stop it. I mean, we're not like at a complete loss versus this deck, but I don't know. I don't know like how this succeeds when there's so much combo though, because I just feel like the more likely than not they're going to lose to it. Maybe it's because they're better against the mono black aggro deck that this is more playable. So it makes sense. Like Uro's probably very good against that Rakdos deck. They don't do anything, I probably just pass, and then I have to play Trickster at the end step. Traverse, sure. They can traverse for whatever they want. They have creature, land, sorcery. No, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have Delirium yet, so that's nice. But they can just play Uro now. It's fine. Now they're gonna Thoughtseize away the Wizard's Retort. They took the Fae of Wishes. Interesting. They're not worried about this at all. Okay, well, they didn't play it yet, so they know we have the counterspell too. Okay. They don't know what we kept in top. We also might need to throw this Witching Well away for some cards. Yeah, I unfortunately can't do anything about that. I have to take 1 damage here. Doesn't really help me. It's basically like I didn't draw a card. Yep. So what is their plan here? They have traverses online. They could have like. I'm surprised they didn't play Uro when they had the chance. And they know that we have a counterspell, so. Okay, well, whatever this. Yeah, we do have to counter that. They may as well attack, yeah, like they're getting in 1 free damage. So I guess I'm just passing here. I might crack one of these Witching Wells for 2 cards at the end of turn. Okay, so Wayfinder is not that big a deal. Well, Walking Ballista in the graveyard does not make me happy. I guess it makes me more happy though than if it was in their hand. And if they try to bring Uro back, we can just borrow her and bounce it. Looks like that's what they're doing. They're just figuring out what cards they want to exile. Which is fine. Yep. I don't have to bounce it right now. I can take this opportunity to make 4 mana and then crack a well, draw 2 cards, and hopefully I can bounce it and do something else relevant. Attacking here doesn't matter. I mean, I guess that sort of helps. We have land drops to make now. The Fatal Push is still in the graveyard, and the Jace can easily do something about that, so I guess... do this now. Before they untap and have some other answer. Master's still not great just because, yeah, at any given point Jace can like get this fatal push out of the graveyard. No, this can't be good. No, it is not good. That -3 is pretty brutal. Hold on. Turn off auto yields. We're gonna exile Nykthos. Because I'm gonna be flashing this Trickster back in now. Yeah. I'm praying that they attack with the Satyr Wayfinder so I can kill this Ashiok. That is another problem. Please attack me. Nope. So let's see here. I mean, Master of Waves is pretty useless right now anyway. We're running out of room here. So we know that they have some really devastating cards in hand. Right. We know about these two, and then they have another card, so... They have land, artifact, creature, sorcery, instant, planeswalker. They have, like, super Delirium. I mean, I can force them to throw away a Satyr Wayfinder here, but... This doesn't really do very much. They've got pretty strong control over this game. They have two resolved planeswalkers, two ridiculously powerful threats in hand with Delirium, like, yeah, and they have like, you know, fatal push they can get off of Jace. Yeah, there is like no way that we can come back from this. Like, they would have to fuck up royally, and I just don't see that happening. I don't think casting this Brazen Borrower right now matters. Okay, let's pretend that there was some universe in which we can come back from this. Is it with Gadwick, or is it with Baron? If I get Baron, I could bounce Uro again. They're gonna have all these spider things, but if they play Ishkana, they all have reach. Yeah, so like we're not gonna be able to attack in. I guess we just have to take Gadwick. Yep. So they take up the walkers first. What? Oh my god. Alright. No, I'm not letting you do that. They had Emrakul as like one of their other two cards, so absolutely nut-fuckingly devastating. We need Mystical Dispute a lot. The Spyglass, I think, has to stay there. So what do we take out against them? Master of Waves is pretty bad. They have lots of ways to deal with this card, so... other than that, I think we have to keep everything else the same. Let's see. Yes, I would like to play first. I guess I'm keeping this. It's not amazing, but I have to, so... I mean, Thoughtseize is going to wreck it, but you know what? Thoughtseize is going to wreck everything. Like, Thoughtseize is, like, the single best spell in this format, because it's, like, a vintage staple. Well, I'd actually, you know what? That's not fair. I don't know. It's definitely, like, it's of, like, legacy power, at least, and this is Pioneer, which half of the cards are, like, you know, standard plus, and, like, Thoughtseize is one of the ones that's, like, you know, legacy strong, so... So that's a reason, you know, like mono black, we see Sultai and blue black inverter, like any deck that's like aiming to do, if it's trying to interact for the most part, it's either playing blue or black in this format, so, or both. Thoughtseize is just really strong. This looks like they have Mystical Dispute, but I'm going to play Oracle anyway. If they want to waste a Mystical Dispute on this, so be it. Okay. Like, that's another problem for us, like, in addition to all, like, the bad, like, black cards for us that they're playing, like Thoughtseize and whatnot. Yeah, I don't have an answer to this. Where the fuck were you? Never mind. I could play this Gadwick now, but it doesn't actually, like, help me to do that. I need to bounce this Jace so I can counter it. And the longer this Jace stays out here, the worse it's going to be. Well, this seems like something we don't really want to let happen. Yeah, so I'm hoping that Jace, the Dispute, and the Ego were the reasons that they, like, kept their hands, because I need to get this ley line out before things go too far south. I have to be able to outplay them at instant speed, or otherwise there's no hope that I'm going to get there, so they have Creature, Sorcery, Instant, so they only get a basic off this. But it does mean Jace is going to flip. So we're going to need something like Baron to try to stabilize this. So we have to bounce the flip Jace. Yeah. They might play Uro. Or no, they're going to play Unmoored Ego. Never mind. I'm assuming they play, like, what? Mystical Dispute, or even Gadwick would be fine. Both of those cards seem relevant here. They named Gadwick. Okay, like, this is over. We had, like, nothing for this. Jace just, like, dominated both of these games. They know what's in our hand, so, like, this is pointless. We are beyond boned. We're not going to play a spell here. Like, there's no reason for them to. They're just going to... I guess, yeah, we're not going to... Okay, well... Maybe we have some counterplay with this. Okay. They shocked themselves. What does this mean? Mystical Dispute is not going to do it, so... Whatever. I mean, I can't deal with that. We're just flooding out here. We need, like, Fae of Wishes. They can just replay Jace and flip it again next turn, so it's not particularly helpful. Yeah, this Dispute's not really doing much now, but... Interesting. Okay, well, that might actually be the difference maker here, because we have 8 lands in Fae of Wishes, so... God damn it! Why do they have to have Thoughtseize this turn? That's so bad! Now I can't even do this. Alright, I'm just gonna hope that that they don't want to do this. They didn't pay for it. Okay. If they Thoughtseize me again, I'm just gonna flash it in. But now we can't even, like, granted for here. Like, we had a shot at getting Ugin next turn, but the fact that they could double Thoughtseize this turn means that plan is shot to hell, and yeah, which we're just gonna lose this to, like, any removal spell now. Sure. There is no hope at this point. That was, like, fantastic. Okay. We had, like, they just fucking got us, like, so hard. Like, it's terrible. Whatever, they're just gonna, like, you know, bend us over a barrel here. Like, if we could have just, like, gone to the end step with this thing, there was actually a chance that, like, we could have came back this game, but just no. Tireless Tracker, they're gonna draw, like, a million cards. Like, this is just so far over, and Jace is just gonna ruin us here. I don't know, maybe I needed to use the Mystical Dispute earlier, but I also wasn't thinking that we were going to draw like 7 lands in a row. Because I was thinking that if we actually drew something, you know, where we wanted to like cast a spell and hold up a counter spell, like... Oh, shit. Alright. Alright, we're doing this dance again, I guess. Yeah, we're gonna take a hit this turn. That's, again, we just have to untap and be able to cast Uro. I need them to like tap out for Ishkanah or something like that. There's no reason for them to do that. Alright, well, if they have a counterspell, we die. Okay, well, they do not have a counterspell. Interesting. I only played the Fae of Wishes because I was trying to like buy myself an extra turn if for some reason they did have a counterspell, so... Alright, pass. So, okay, well, we drew just like another Fae of Wishes, so that's neat. But they had Murderous Rider, so like, that sucked. This still really isn't winning, though. We're at 10 and they have like 5 cards in their hand this turn, so... Yeah. We can Thassa's upkeep, or Thassa's Oracle on her upkeep, I guess. We don't have another Ugin to play either. Like, this is so terrible. We know they're getting another Uro. Like, look at this. Even when things went as right as they could, it wasn't enough. We're still very dying. Just so bad. They got too much value too early. Alright. What do I need here? I don't think any of these are gonna actually help very much. Put a lot of cards in the graveyard. The Witching Well, I can play and draw 2 cards with it. That might be what I have to do here. No, I have to do this now. Okay. Yeah, this dispute's not going to do anything at this point. The borrower might. Alright, pass. At least if they play Uro, I can, I can bounce it back to their hand. It's not something I want to be doing, because every time they play it, they draw a card, but, like, we are just trying our best to tread water here. Like, this is not stabilizing the game in any way. This is just, like, trying to not drown. Fuck. Fuck. Draw me Wizard Retort. No. Interesting. I don't know, I guess this one. Okay, part of the problem here is if I actually... Well, I can't get Uro back, so I guess it's safe to do this, right? Because they're going to have Fatal Push next turn, so... They don't have Uro mana right now. Neither of these help. Ishkana is not a creature I want to be bouncing. So what could we, like, bail ourselves out with? I guess if we can find the 3rd Fae of Wishes, we can grant it for mass manipulation, try to steal a bunch of their creatures, and then hope that does something. Thoughtseize on top does not really help very much. Alright. Mass manipulation is only going to steal 2 things, so I could theoretically steal Uro and, like, I don't know, maybe Ishkana. This is all still really bad, though. This is a situation where I think maybe Gadwick might help. So, what's our best shot at that? We can play Nykthos. It'll give us 2, 4, 6, 8 mana to work with. Yeah, I guess we have to take the Witching Well. We're bouncing this Uro. Alright, we need like... Fuck, that's not really it. Yeah, okay, so here, what's our scenario look like now? We take the Witching Well, we get a random card, we get to scry 2 and potentially draw 2 more cards, but like, we're running out of reasonable cards that we can draw that are actually going to do anything here. I guess I don't have a choice. Well, I have the ley line, so I can do this at instant speed. I've already played a land, so there's no reason to do it right this second. I need these to unblock or to untap with. Yeah. Okay, so here now we have to think about this. So do I make the mana with Nykthos first? Alright, how do I go about doing this? I have 8 to work with. I need at least 2 for this. So I have 6 mana here. Alright. If I draw Gadwick, I might actually need this to tap something down. So I guess I need to, if I use Nykthos, then I make 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 mana. Is there an advantage to doing this first? Alright. We are all in on this. I don't think that's gonna change very much. I guess I just have to try to live this turn. And that's my plan. I have... Why? Every single time! Go ahead, Thoughtseize me. You take nothing. It's just like, okay, here's this like little glimmer of hope that we have that like maybe we can do something, and it's like, nope, Thoughtseize is just gonna rip it away. Like, to just wait till the last second every time to just like do that. Oh great, they have Mystical Dispute. That's fantastic. Alright. I mean, they can Fatal Push it, I think. Yeah. Which, it doesn't matter. They were going to do that anyway. So, sideboard, we went through all 3 of these now, right? So, there's 1, 2... Do we see the 3rd one somewhere? Okay, so is there 1 left? See the 4 Witching Well. We went through 4 Wishing Wells. Oh, God. At least we keep our devotion, so if we draw Gadwick, we can do something, hopefully. Gadwick's not going to matter, though. We're just going to get crushed by this. God, this is so bad. We're just getting, like, annihilated. We are keeping ourselves in this game, but we're down to, like, 7 minutes, and we haven't even... Yeah, they're still, like, threatening us with so many things. Like... And even if we somehow manage to not die this game, there's no way that we have time to, like, grind out a third game against this deck, so... We're just playing just to, like, you know, get a feel for this deck at this point, because... Yeah, we're not actually accomplishing anything here. This is... Uro is stupid. This is just like Oko as a creature, basically, like... Any blue-green deck should, like, really be playing this card if they can. Fantastic. Please tell me they can, like, cast that somehow magically. No, they're just gonna cast Uro. Oh, no, they can cast this turn. That's fantastic. They can just, like, name Gadwick. That'll be lights out. They can play Uro from the graveyard. Cast Unmoored Ego. Name Gadwick, and then we have, like, nothing to spend our mana to, like, even attempt to come back from this with, so... This is a game of Magic cards, and, this was not our time. So once they tell me that they named Gadwick, I'm conceding this. Name Fae of Wishes. There's only one left in our deck. Alright. But, alright, so, again, we have to top deck Gadwick, or otherwise this is pointless. Wait, what? Only two. Oh, no, Gadwick was here. Never mind, they exiled all the Gadwicks, so we don't even have a hope of drawing that, so, yeah, okay. Let's... Okay. I did the damage to myself. There was... Fuck it. Yeah, we got absolutely obliterated by this. Like, the Jace so early, like, both games, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm supposed to just, like, hold up a counterspell for Jace and, like, somehow that, like, translates into things going better, but... No, this was just, like, nut crushing. This is just kills off, like, a portion of your soul when this happens to you, so... Alright, well, not a good way to start off this league, so... Fuck, alright, we'll see how the rest of this goes. I'll see you for the next round.